Good morning, Black people. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So it appears that the Supreme Court may be prepared to do something that is pretty surprising. There are reports that Roe versus Wade, an important landmark decision by the Supreme Court, is threatened to be overturned. My question is, how do Black people feel about Roe versus Wade? So I actually took a survey. I got some data, and I want to share some of this data with you. So get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt. DrBoyceTV.com starts right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to DrBoyceTV.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I wanted to come in and first of all say hello to everybody, and just know that this platform is B1. B1 means that we believe in Black people being intelligent. B1 means that we are Black first. It means we put our community at the top of our priority list. B1 also means that we educate our kids. B1 means we build wealth. So if you are a B1 and you put your community first, put a hashtag B in the number 1 in the chat. Hey, Duran. Hey, Leroy. How you doing? Also, let me know what city you're coming from. Let me know what city you're from. I'd like to see what cities you guys are coming in from. I see Alicia, B1 to you too. Ed Green, good morning. Doc, good morning to you too. Joshua says, I think finally women are going to have to be accountable for poor situationships. That comment's coming from the manosphere. Well, we gonna address all of that. So give me 1 second here. So first of all, I want to ask you all. First, tell me what cities you're from. I want to see that. I see Duran from Maryland, Naima from New York. Let's see. I see Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, Washington D.C., Chicago. My wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, and I are going to be doing an event in Chicago on the 15th of this month, May 15th. So if you want to join us, just go to boycewatkins.com and look for events. Events are at the top. And you can join us in Chicago. We're going to do a nice, fun event on wealth and family and relationships and everything in between. It's adults only, though. It's adults only, so don't bring your kids. We're going to have some nice, strong adult conversations about everything related to wealth and family and relationships. Ed Green from Tampa, Joshua from New York, Elisa Long Island. I see Orlando, Arlington, Texas. Joint Base Andrews. Okay, sounds military. Is that Andrews Air Force Base? Is that it? Well, thank you for your service. Shout out to all the veterans in the building. I have a tremendous respect for veterans. And you can't change my mind on that. A few things you can't change my mind on. You can't change my mind on how I feel about veterans. You can debate government policy with me if you want to, but you're not going to debate whether or not veterans deserve respect for the sacrifice they make. You're also not going to debate me on the Nation of Islam. I know the whole history. I know all the controversies. I know everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. But I choose to support the nation because I believe the nation is the next frontier in terms of where Black people need to go. The Nation of Islam is a place where you are going to find Black men who are solid. The Nation of Islam is a place where you can find people that you can actually do business with. The Nation of Islam is a group of people that understands the importance of building our own schools, taking care of our own community, etc. So I'm not even going to have that debate with you. But anyway, with that being said, though, let me just kind of move forward in this conversation. So just give me a flat yes or no. First of all, let's do a quick yes or no. Yes or no in the chat. Yes or no. How many of you heard that the Supreme Court may be set to overturn a landmark decision called Roe versus Wade? How many of y'all heard about that? Give me a yes in the chat if you saw this Roe versus Wade controversy that's kind of brewing. It's kind of getting crazy. I know that America is about to go into more political turmoil. Okay, so I see some yeses. Good. All right, I see a few yeses from Hyacinth and Geraldine and Ralph. Okay, a lot of people see yeah. Okay, so I won't explain too much of this, but basically it's been leaked that the Supreme Court may overturn Roe versus Wade. Okay, first of all, let me just say this: if I say something you don't agree with, just know that you're gonna always hear that. You're gonna hear things that I say that you agree with, things that I say that you don't agree with, because I like to look at all sides of an issue. Also, just so you know where I stand politically, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm a black man. This is on my shirt. You can see this, and this is where I stand. I'm not trying to get on the liberal side. I'm not trying to get on the conservative side. I'm a believer that there are good ideas across all parts of the political spectrum. I don't think black people have to make a choice. I don't think black people have won by being overly loyal to the Democrats in every situation, but I don't necessarily see anything on the Republican side that makes me want to jump over there. When I went to go speak this weekend at King Randall's event, he's opening a school. He's a black man who's opening school. He's 22. He's opening schools for a school for black boys. I got invited to conservative events. We need to get conservative legislation passed. There was a nice lady who said that. And honestly, that just doesn't inspire me. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying that conservative values don't have merit. I'm just saying that that's just not something that really, gets me going, makes me want to participate. So with that said, so Roe versus Wade is, they may overturn it. Justice Samuel Alito, I guess somehow somebody leaked that opinion or the draft of the opinion. Again, I hear people asking, like Faye Bishop was asking, how does that leak happen? Like, what happened? Who leaked it? Is that person going to go to jail? Did they find out who did it? Was this intentional? That's the first part. But then the second part is in terms of Roe versus Wade. In case you want to know the history of Roe versus Wade, if you want to look it up, it basically what I'm reading here is it says it was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court in which the court ruled that the Constitution of the United States protects a pregnant woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion without excessive government restriction. The decision struck down many U.S. federal and state abortion laws. Roe fueled an ongoing debate in the United States about whether or not and to what extent abortion should be legal, who should decide the legality, and what the role and moral and religious views in the political sphere should be. It also shaped debate concerning which methods the Supreme Court should use in constitutional adjudication. It involved a woman named Norma McCorvey. Her legal pseudonym was Jane Roe, who in 1969 became pregnant with her third child. McCorvey wanted an abortion but lived in Texas, where that was illegal except when necessary to save the mother's life. Her attorneys, Sarah Weddington and Linda Coffey, filed a lawsuit on her behalf in U.S. federal court against her local district attorney, Henry Wade, alleging that Texas's laws were unconstitutional. A 3-judge panel in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas heard the case and ruled in her favor. Texas then appealed directly to the U.S. Supreme Court. So what I'm really hearing here, but as I read the history of Roe versus Wade, is it sounds like it was very political. I doubt that Norma McCorvey, when she went in to, try to, have her procedure done, I doubt she expected these lawyers to come along and fund a lawsuit against the DA. I strongly suspect that it was yet one of those other situations where they grab someone's individual case and they use that for political purposes. So that right there smelled like politics to me. It sounded like they were waiting to kind of make a move. They said, okay, this is a great case. We're going to grab this case and use this to make a point, right? And that's kind of how the law works. And I get that. That makes sense. And it's interesting to see that. But also what I've heard, in terms of things I've read, is that Norma McCorvey, I'd be curious to know how Norma McCorvey feels about that decision. Because from what my friends have said, I got to go research this in more detail. Many of them have sent me things saying that she regretted her decision, that she actually didn't want to be a part of that case, or that she did it and then she later on wished that she hadn't done it. So I think that's interesting in the sense of adding, all the information to the conversation. One of the biggest problems I've always had with this whole debate about right to pro-choice, pro-life, and all that is that there's so much propaganda that flows back and forth. I'll admit that I'm a little bit biased because my mother was 17 years old when she gave birth to me. My mother was all alone. My father, I don't know the man. I never knew him. He died a couple years ago. I didn't know him. I didn't cry. I didn't get sad when he died. My mother is this poor single mother, 17 years old. There are a lot of people who would have told her, look, and they did tell her, like, look, this baby, y'all are not gonna make it. This is too hard. You don't have enough money. And my mother, for whatever reason, just chose to give me to God. She literally went to church, went to the altar, prayed to God. She said, I can't take care of this baby by myself. I'm going to hand him to you. Right now, of course, she took care of me. But what I found was that the economic problems that my mother had at that time, they went away after about 2 or 3 years. But if she had decided to kill me, that would have been permanent. And I use the word kill because that's what it is. I don't like this idea that somehow we use words like terminate or medical procedure. No, I mean, some would say that you're killing a baby, right? And I think it's okay to say that. And I know it might make people mad. It might hurt people's feelings. It might make them feel like, oh my God, that's terrible. You're making me feel bad. But if I were to kill a baby, not that I would, but if a man were to kill a baby, you would say that's a baby killer. That's bad, right? I think that there's an out of sight, out of mind element to all of this, where it's like, okay, well, yeah, but it's still in the stomach, so it's not really quite a real person. So, no, I think it depends on your perspective, right? When you tell me that you're pregnant, I picture a person. When both of my girls said they were pregnant, I pictured a person, and now there are real people walking around the earth who are wonderful people who are learning how to talk and read and everything else, and these are not, to me, medical procedures. And I think it's okay to have that perspective. And here's the thing, though. Here's what's interesting. I don't know if I'm pro-choice or pro-life. I really don't, because if you push me, if you said, hey, Boyce, we're having a march so that we can stop women from having any rights to choose to get a procedure done, I'm not going to that march. Right? Do you understand? I'm not going to that march. I'm not going. Like, if you tell me we're going to march and rally and fight, we're going to get picket signs, go out in front of the clinic and harass people as they walk in, I'm not into that. I'm not going that far with you. But if you tell me that they're about to pass a law, if you tell me they're about to overturn Roe V Wade, I don't get passionate about that either. I kind of say, hey, vote for people like me, because my PhD is in finance, so I understand money. I understand the pros and cons of money, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I don't want to die over money. I don't think anybody in the history of this world should ever go kill their baby over money. Like, oh, but we're poor right now. So, and that's the problem. That's the issue that I think a legitimate issue people have brought up is, why do you tend to promote these procedures to poor Black people so much? Why is it that when I went to South Africa, this is a true story, I swear to God. Now again, y'all going to have a hard time figuring out if I'm pro-choice or pro-life, because I told you, I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I'm just Black. And by the way, you can go to Black Wealth Tees if you want to get other Smart Aleck t-shirts like this. That's because I'm not into groupthink. That's not impressive to me. Anybody can follow the group. So why is it that when I go to South Africa, Lee, why would I go to South Africa, and when I'm driving down the street was it Johannesburg I was in? I think it was Johannesburg. Now pay attention now. This is a true story. Do you know that when I was in Johannesburg, South Africa, every single corner had hundreds, probably thousands of ads for abortions? Did you know that? How many of y'all knew that? How many of y'all knew that if you go to some parts of Africa, they promote that stuff like crazy? And I went to the white neighborhoods too. They weren't promoting them as heavily in the white neighborhoods. Not to say white people weren't doing it, but I said, okay, this right here, this is extermination. You're trying to take these people out like roaches. This is systematic. This is something right here. Why did I see? I kid you not, that I would see flyers. You ever see those flyers where they cut the end of it with the little pieces, the little strips that hang off with the little phone number hanging down? You know what I'm talking about? And I would see flyers, and it would be like abortion, right? Like literally. And then I would see another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. And I said, okay, this is interesting. Like, so you can't convince me. Again, I'm a person who's not necessarily in the pro-choice, pro-life debate directly. I told you my bias. My bias is that if my mother had listened to the feminists, I wouldn't be here. Right? That's my bias. So I'm kind of like, hey, thank you, Mama, for giving birth to me. Thank you for not, creating a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Thank you for not allowing money to be the reason I didn't get a chance to live. Thank you for not allowing, financial problems that lasted for about 2 years to cause you to not enjoy the 50 years that she and I had on this earth together. Right? So I do have that bias, but at the same time, again, I'm not a person who's going to go out and beat up a woman or cuss her out or yell at her or harass her because she's choosing to do this. I think that the problem that I've seen, the thing that bothers me, and this is why y'all got to stop being white, stop thinking in this Eurocentric kind of framework, form your own perspective. I don't think it's in the natural energy of the black family traditionally, historically, going back to ancient Africa, I don't even think that's in our spirit to kill our children unless we absolutely have to. I just don't. I think that this is some Eurocentric nonsense that you picked up. I don't really see that same type of energy, that same, you can almost call it anti-family energy. I don't see the anti-family energy when I go to South America. I don't see the anti-family energy when I go to parts of Africa. I don't see the anti-family energy when I go to Asia. But when you go to Europe, it's like, oh, look at me, I'm going to college, and so why should my children get to live because I get to go to college right now? Or oh, the relationship didn't work out, so let me just get rid of this baby because the baby's an inconvenience to stop me from doing all the incessant, having all the sex that I want to have with whoever I want to sleep with no accountability, right? I just don't, that doesn't resonate with me. And so ultimately, when you talk about this conversation, one of the things that gets left off the table is nobody really talks about men. Nobody really talks about the rights of men to decide the fate of their children. Nobody, and that's what's fascinating to me is America is an interesting country. They will talk all day about the right of a woman to choose this and the right of a woman to choose that. If that is my seed inside of you, if that is my legacy, if that is my child inside of you, how come nobody asked me nothing about what's going to happen to my baby? Because believe me, if you choose to have that baby, you're going to ask me about paying the bills. You're going to come to me for that child support. Yeah, I can't do a financial abortion, right? So how in the hell are you going to, so this is a power thing. That's what I'm explaining to you, Black people. This is a power struggle between mostly white men and mostly white women. Some Black people get involved in the power struggle because you've inherited some of this. You picked up on some of this. They killed a lot of your men by sending them off to mass incarceration. So a lot of the women are feeling abandoned and feeling hurt by men. And then they turned hip hop negative and toxic to where you have a lot of energy sometimes coming from the manosphere, the simps in the manosphere who hate Black women, who hate their own damn mother. Seriously, what kind of man are you when you're running around and making a lifestyle? This is a weird alternative lifestyle. You have a whole lifestyle around hating your own women. You literally are just as bad as the KKK. You literally have a whole lifestyle around, we hold Black women accountable. Well, who's holding your raggedy ass accountable? These single moms ain't worth nothing. They garbage. Well, your mama was a single mom, Negro. Your mama was a single mom, you idiot. What's wrong with you, fool? How you going? I understand you had a problem with your baby mama. I understand that maybe your mother wasn't as nice to you as she should have been. I understand that you couldn't get the girl that you wanted because you broke. But why in the hell are you spending your whole life sitting around bashing your own women? That is weird. That is toxic. That is incredibly self-destructive. So ultimately, that anti-woman energy, all this stuff is manufactured. All this stuff is created. All this stuff links right back to white supremacy. And I'm gonna tell you this: you can't convince me on any level that this society, the way it's structured, wants Black men like me to live. You can't convince me on any level that this society, the way it's structured, wanted Boyce Watkins to be born. The world does not want another Dr. Boyce Watkins. The world wants men like me to either be aborted, the world wants men like me to be killed, or the world wants men like me to be incarcerated. Some of your greatest geniuses in the history of this country are doing 40-year stints in prison, so you will never, ever, ever hear their name. Do you understand? Do you know how many brilliant Black men I meet who come out? I was down in Georgia this weekend, and I went to King Randall School for Boys, and I met Brother Ben X down there. He was down there, and also a 19 Keys was down there. And Ben X had a security guard who was a very nice brother. I want to say his name might have been Brother Winfred, but I may have gotten it wrong. So forgive me if I got it wrong. But I talked to him, and he told me that he did some years in prison, about 15 years, and my heart sank. I felt his pain because I can only imagine what it would feel like to go to jail at 19 and then get out at 34. You've missed all your 20s. So many things happen in your 20s, and we just talked for a little while, and I just sat there and I thought about And I looked at how sharp this guy was. I mean, this brother was sharp. He was dressed very nicely. He was extremely intelligent. He was very inquisitive and it was asking good questions. When I spoke, he paid close attention. And I said, this man is every bit as thoughtful and as intelligent as any scholar I met in academia, any professor that I met when I was teaching at Syracuse University, anybody I met in my PhD program. This brother's right there. And I said, how many other men are there like him? How many? Pay attention, Black people. This is what they're doing. This is how they're exterminating you. There are probably about 100,000 other men just like this one that you will never meet, you will never see, you will never hear about, because Joe Biden never gave you permission to talk about all the Black abortions that he's pushed forward in the community. When they lock up your talented, intelligent son and give him 80 years in prison for possessing a small amount of cocaine that a white boy could get away with, they are aborting your child. He don't want you to know about his dirty work. He don't want you to talk about his dirty work. He wants you to sweep 100,000 Black men and women under the rug. Well, I'm not doing it. I'm not going along with none of that nonsense. And if you go along with that stuff, I don't hate you. You got a right to have your opinion, but you got to stop this stuff. You got to learn how to think. So let's dig deeper into this. Do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Also, don't forget, my wife and I are going to be in Chicago on May 15th. We're doing a Black wealth and family event. It's adults only, though, because we want the singles to mingle and connect, because good quality Black people should be meeting other good quality Black people. And that's something that we believe in. My wife is a relationship therapist, and that's a big deal for her. Also, some of you are asking about the shirt that I'm wearing. If you want to get shirts like this, you can actually go to blackwealthtees.com. So feel free to go take a look at that. All right, so let me mention a couple other things. So I think that in this whole debate, this Roe v. Wade debate, I really don't understand who decided that it's okay to tell men that they have no rights when it comes to their unborn children. That part is very odd to me. I know, it's weird to me when somebody says I'm defending my rights by taking yours. That's a power struggle to me. And I can because I can tell you, if I knew I had a child and I was going to take care of it, and somebody's like, well, I don't like you anymore, so I'm going to kill your child. Like, that could be defined as a homicidal act. You could see it as like, oh, well, it's just pro-choice and her body and health and all that. But no, I would see it as like, my baby was going to be born, but now my baby's not going to be born because you chose to make sure my child wasn't born. That's a problem. That makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, I asked you guys what you thought, and I took two polls. I took a poll on Twitter. I took a poll on Instagram, or not Instagram. I'm sorry, YouTube. And I'm gonna try to share the poll results to you. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. So if you don't mind being challenged in your thinking or to hear some ideas that are highly unconventional, feel free to follow me on Twitter, because I can't think like everybody else, because I'm not like everybody else. Like, I don't have. When you go to school till you're 31, you're going to see things a little bit different. Doesn't mean I'm always right. Just means I am a little bit different, and I acknowledge that. So here is the poll result. I said, how do you feel about overturning Roe versus Wade? 34.9% of you said yes, overturn it. 33.3% of you said no, don't overturn it. 31.8% of you said you're not sure. So that's like a third. So amongst the people that voted, it looks like a split down the middle of whether or not people want to overturn it or not. Now, mind you, the Black people who follow me are not your typical Negroes. They're not. They tend to be smarter. They tend to be. They tend to think a little more critically. They don't necessarily go along with mainstream thinking. And so ultimately, this is not a poll. Like, if you took the poll on BET, or if you took the poll at the Tyler Perry show or something, you're going to get a different result, right? So ultimately, this is reflective of a certain kind of Black person. Now let me tell you this. I did another poll on my Boyce Watkins YouTube channel, and actually 47% of you said no, they should not overturn it. So that's about half of the total. 32% of you said yes, overturn it. 20% said I'm not sure. So actually, on my YouTube channel, there were a lot more people that were quote unquote pro-choice than pro-life. So, and I get that, and I respect that. I completely respect that. And again, I'm probably more pro-choice in the sense that I'm not going to fight against somebody's right to get an abortion or not. I'm not necessarily going to get in the way of that. What I don't feel comfortable with is the simplicity and ease with which we talk about something so serious. I don't like hearing somebody talk about how they aborted their baby because they had another semester in school, or because they broke up with the daddy, or because they don't have enough money, or whatever. Like, little things like that can be fixed. And I don't necessarily know. As a child who they told my mother, like, you need to get rid of this baby because how in the hell are you gonna take care of this baby? They didn't understand my mother wasn't gonna be 17 years old forever. They didn't understand that my mother and I would have many decades together as a family, right? They didn't. And also, here's the other thing too, and I really think Black people have to consider this. One of the greatest threats to white supremacy is Black family. There's a reason that they don't want your little Black boy to be born. They don't want another Malcolm X. They don't want another Muhammad Ali coming out of your womb. Only a Black woman can produce a Muhammad Ali. Only a Black woman can produce a Frederick Douglass. Only a Black woman can produce a Minister Louis Farrakhan. Only a Black woman can produce a Boyce Watkins, like, whatever that means to you, right? So ultimately, I think that the womb of the Black woman, the sacred space that it should be, is a place where your geniuses are born. That is a place where your great leaders come from. That is a place where your community protectors come from. And so when you look at the Black community now, one of the things that we must acknowledge is that it is an unprotected community. They are accustomed to the Black community being a fatherless community that does not have masculine male protection. And when there is no masculine male protection in a community, the predators come through. When there is no masculine male protection in a family, the children are more likely to be molested. When the daughter is more likely to get turned out and pimped. The son is more likely to be killed or incarcerated or shot or beaten by the police. All the studies show that if you go through the young men that are in prison, many of them didn't have male role models who were strong enough to shut them down. Because most Black boys who have a strong man that they respond to are not going to go out and do something stupid, because that strong, intelligent man is going to talk to them about the choices they're making. He's going to say, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? So when they tell you that you don't need your men, that's as crazy as saying you don't need your women. I know that we need women. The question is, do you also know that we need men? Or are you a person who is somehow deluded into thinking we need women, but we don't need men? That's crazy. That's crazy talk. Like that something's got to be wrong with you for you to think we need alpha and we don't need beta. We don't need the all the letters in the alphabet, or that we don't need all of the pieces of the puzzle. Right? If 2 + 2 is 4, you need the first 2 and the second 2 in order for you to get 4. You can't say, well, 2 + 0 is 4. You can't do that, right? You can't. I'm a mathematician. I taught math at the University of Kentucky. And believe me, if I put up 2 + 2 is 4, and you say, well, let's take out the second 2 because we don't need the 2, that other 2. We already got one of the 2s. So 2 + 0 should be 4 also, right? I'm going to be like, no, it doesn't work that way. 2 + 0 is 2. So you're less than when you don't have that adequate partner. You're just not this. You're not the same. The process isn't done as well. It's like when I try to clean the house by myself and I don't get my wife's help, the house ain't gonna be as clean as it would have been otherwise. So I need y'all to kind of get out of that weirdo think. I need y'all to stop thinking that your men don't matter. I need y'all to stop thinking that families are not important. Every wealth study I've ever done, and I've written original research papers on wealth and where wealth comes from and why some communities are richer than others. And I can tell you with complete uncertainty that family is a critical aspect of wealth. When you don't even consider the importance of family in terms of what you're doing, you're literally a one-arm basketball player trying to make it to the NBA. You might be that good. There is one guy that's really good. I saw a one-arm basketball player who was doing dunks and everything. I thought that was great. But if he does make it to the NBA, which I hope and pray that he does, he's going to be 1 in a million. It's not like he's going to be on a team where half the players have one arm. He will be an anomaly. He will be 1 in 10 million. So what I'm saying to you is you must factor how you choose your relationships into your overall success story. You must do that. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And so what I'll say overall is I don't know how this Roe v. Wade thing's going to go. I fully suspect that if they overturn it, it's going to be a shitstorm. It's going to be crazy. There's going to be lots of fighting and white women protesting out in the streets and black women standing next to them and stuff, and it's fine. I mean, it is what it is. That's American politics. It's very divisive. Am I offended by them removing Roe v. Wade? Not really. I mean, but it didn't offend me that it was there in the first place, right? So I'm not an extremist in that regard. I'm not going to harass somebody because they choose to make a certain decision. But what I am going to say is that if you are a person who says, maybe something like abortion is a little heavier than the media is letting on. Like when they describe it as just a medical procedure, I think that they're understating the significance of the choice that you're making. I think that there are voices that should be heard from maybe the women who did it and they have regrets, right? Are there, and if there are there regrets, right? I'd like to hear that too. And I think that when you say things like, a child can come in and get it done without talking to their parents, well, that's offensive to a lot of parents who feel that they should be the primary decision makers when it comes to the lives of their children, not some white lady at a clinic. Some stranger is going to make a decision with my child that I don't have a part in. Well, then you're violating other people's rights. So while I respect everybody's rights to have freedom and justice and equality and everything else, you can't claim your rights by taking away the rights of other people, because then at that point you become worse than the bully you claim to be fighting. You're telling me you're fighting the bully, but it looks to me like you've become the bully. It's almost like when we had the whole debate about Elon Musk and Twitter, and people were saying, oh, well, if he allows for freedom of speech, all the bullies are going to come back. And I said, but it took a bully to decide that only certain people in our society deserve the right to have freedom of speech. Last time I checked, freedom of speech was not written and designed only for specific people. Freedom of speech was not just designed for elite liberals who went to Yale. Freedom of speech was not designed specifically for people who live in the Northeast or who are LGBT. Right? Freedom of speech is for everybody. Freedom of speech should be for everybody. So this idea that somehow you think that freedom of speech is going to let the bullies back in, that's a little weird. Anybody who restricts other people's rights to do basic things like talk is probably not a good person. You're probably not doing something good for the world. Like I don't like, if any of y'all in here, I had people coming here. I had some little guy come in here and call me a simp or something. They don't know what he's talking about. I ain't worried about it. He's probably 25 years old. But the thing was, it's like, okay, fine, you have a right to talk. I don't care. I mean, say what you want. I'm a grown man. Like, I don't need your like validation to tell me that I am a grown man, right? You're probably not. So ultimately, I personally would encourage Black people, intelligent Black people, to come to your own conclusions about all of these things. Absorb all the information, make the decision that works best for you. If you are pro-choice, I'm certainly not going to give you a hard time, because I'm probably kind of pro-choice too. But if you're pro-life, I get it. I completely get it. I understand the spiritual impetus that pushes you to say, life is important. Life is sacred. I understand that when you hear somebody's pregnant, you visualize a real human being. I can respect what I see as just clarity of perspective that says, if I see a 6-month-old baby, I want that baby to live. If I see a baby who's it's still in his mother's stomach, I want that baby to live. I totally get all of that, right? But so I personally would encourage you to not get caught up in some of these popular mainstream debates that are happening on media, because those are being driven by people who don't look like you. And one of the things that I've noticed, I can tell you about liberals and conservatives, is that they have been in this epic battle with each other for a long time. They're like the Crips and the Bloods. They just going at it. And they're always looking to recruit people for their cause, right? So if you are a Black conservative, I can respect you and I can hear all of your ideas, as long as your ideas don't end with something like, this is why we need to go vote for President Trump. That's where I get off the bus, because he's using you. He's milking you like a damn cow. He's playing you. You're standing with him because you're not strong enough to stand alone. I get that. I hear that, but that's not where I'm not going there with you, because I want to be stronger than that. If you are a liberal, I can hear all your ideas. If you talk, my wife is a social worker. You don't get more liberal than social workers. So you're telling me like why we need to deal with wealth inequality. I'm going to hear you. You tell me why we need to support and feed the poor. Yeah, I agree. Let's go to Elon Musk's house and take $200 billion out of his bank account and start feeding people with it. If you tell me that we need to deal with mass incarceration or police brutality, I'm going to hear all of that. But then when you start getting back to why we need to go support Uncle Joe in the next election, I'm going to tell you to kiss my whole entire Black ass, because I'm not. Uncle Joe is the guy who caused a lot of the damn problems that you're looking at. You're talking about fighting poverty. Well, what do you think is the number one factor that causes poverty in the Black community? What do y'all think? What do y'all think is one of the leading factors of Black poverty? Single parent households with no daddy, missing Black men. Where did they go? Did God just stop creating Black men? Did Black men just stop coming out of the womb? Did we have a 80% black women coming out of vaginas now? Is that what happened? No, they went to your community and they said, let's find the biggest, strongest, smartest men that we can find, and let's lock all these Negroes up. They did the ultimate Klan rally right in your damn neighborhood. The KKK couldn't have pulled it off better. They did a clean sweep, Adolf Hitler style extermination of your people, and you expect me to go vote for that son of a bitch? Well, you can get out of my face right now. I'm not participating in that. I'm not sitting here trying to say he's all bad. I'm not sitting here trying to say that I'm gonna get mad at you for what you believe. But Lord Jesus, why in the hell you expect me to go and vote for my own genocide? I'm not doing that. So at the end of the day, John Heinrich Clark was correct when he said, black people, you have no friends. You have no Democratic Party friends. When I worked with Ice Cube on dealing with Biden and Trump, do you understand me when I tell you that the greatest opposition he received was from the Democratic Party? Do y'all hear what I'm saying right now? Do you understand me when I say that it was the Republicans that actually were more willing to talk? And we know why it was. It was because they needed him. They needed him. Quid pro quo. Look, we need black votes. What do you need? What do you need? What kind of check can we write? Get us support. We'll write you a check. I'm okay with that. I'm like, okay, well, as long as at least you're talking to us. So I'm just telling you, don't fall for the okie doke. So this Roe V Wade thing is going to blow up. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get crazy. You're going to have, Negroes on the left, Negroes on the right, fighting back and forth and going at it. And I respect it. People can do whatever they want to do. But at the end of the day, if you're not trying to, at the end of the day, defend your community, then all this is a waste of time. And I really think that the best way to defend the black community is to teach ourselves and our children how to make better choices. Don't go get pregnant by an idiot. Don't mess up your relationships. Get help, get counseling, get support. There are books out there you can read. There are people you can talk to so you can work things out with your baby daddy instead of doing this whole independent woman nonsense. And also for men, stop sitting around complaining about black women and learn to understand them. Learn how to listen. Learn how to pick the right woman. Half y'all men out here in the manosphere talking shit about black women. You only talking shit because you picking all the wrong women. You chasing after raggedy ass women, and now you mad because that raggedy woman took you for all your money. She did you wrong. She did you dirty. But you had a good woman that was interested in you the whole time, but that's not interesting to you because she's not an Instagram model. So at the end of the day, we all have to take out the trash, and you must start by taking out the trash in your own spirit that's causing you to make trashy decisions. Personal accountability, I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big believer that you shape about 90% of everything that's happening in your life. And if you believe that your life is shaped by other people, then you're pretty much a slave. That's my 2 cents. That's what I believe. I'm sticking with it. I'm not changing that at all. So anyway, guys, thank you for listening. If you disagree, then I hope we can still love each other and support each other. Also, just a reminder, don't forget my wife and I, Dr. Alicia Watkins, we're going to be doing a Black Wealth and Family, Black Love event in Chicago. We're going to hit all the topics from wealth to relationships, how it all ties together. And also it's kind of a singles event as well. But if you're not a single, that's okay. We got networking for couples as well. So if you want to join us in Chicago on May 15th, just go to go to BoyceWatkins.com, BoyceWatkins.com. It's on the screen. Look for events. We also have events coming up in some other cities. I want to say, the All Black National Conventions in Charlotte, of course, and a few other things. So feel free to go take a look at that. Also, we have flashcards for children. If you want to take a look at some of our financial flashcards for kids, just feel free to go to financialflashcards.com. We just got some flashcards in stock. I know we were sold out for a while, and we finally got the store back moving and everything's back in there. So if you want to take a look at our financial flashcards for kids, feel free to go to financialflashcards.com. So take care, everybody. Have a good day. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.